Hello, this is William Tapscott. I'm with Townsville Crimewatch, and today I'm here with Fred Barnett, Code Enforcement for Columbus, Indiana. Fred is here to talk about vehicles.
When it comes to the vehicles, I deal with a lot of vehicles regardless of whether on public property or private property. On public property, it's kind of easy. What happens is that if there's an unlicensed, inoperable vehicle on public property, I go and I tag that vehicle. And I give them 72 hours in which to remove it. If it's not removed within 72 hours, then I contact dispatch, and dispatch comes and has a police officer, and the police officer actually has that vehicle towed. Now, if it is a unlicensed vehicle, strictly just unlicensed, does not have a current plate or a current tag, or is missing a plate, but the vehicle is operable, what I'll do is I'll actually ticket that car. I'll ticket the vehicle, and there's a $40 fine, that they have to pay. Now, let's say, for example, that same vehicle, it's on public property, and it sits there for more than 30 days without being moved. Then at that point in time, I will then tag it to be towed within 72 hours. Now, some people say, well, how do you know whether it's not been moved or not? Well, that's because I take pictures of everything, and that's my way of verifying that the vehicle has been sitting there for a long period of time. But again, the inoperable part on the public property, we've probably towed 50 vehicles so far this year, and you don't see as many of them out there. What I like to have people do is to call me and let me know what they see, because I can't be everywhere at one time. So if a person has an issue with a vehicle on public property, I need to be made aware of it. Now, when it comes to private property is a different story altogether. When it comes to private property, you have a situation to where if it's unlicensed, inoperable on private property, I will send the owner of that property a letter basically saying it has to be either behind in a garage, carport, covered, or not readily visible from the road, either behind a privacy fence from this way. Now, what's not readily visible from the road is from the alleyway and from the road front itself. But what happens is that if it's not dealt with, I give them 30 days. If it's not resolved within 30 days, then I'll give them a 10-day order. And that order is basically saying you've got 10 days to do this, and if not, the city will start to fine you. And it's $250 per vehicle when it comes to inoperable, unlicensed vehicle on private property. Now, I'm willing to work with individuals to help resolve the issue. We have what we call the IVAP program, Inoperable Vehicle Abatement Program, to where if there's a vehicle that you need to get rid of, the city will actually pay for the towing charge. Okay? The owner of that vehicle follows the tow truck over to the Cruise or Garden City, whoever they're going to take it to, and they'll give them the money for that vehicle right there on the spot. And again, it's no cost to the resident. It's to help individuals out that may not have the funds to have that vehicle towed. So far, we've done about 28 of those vehicles so far this year, and it has helped a lot of people out.
Fred, what does code enforcement consider inoperable?
An inoperable vehicle, if I'm looking at a vehicle and it's got flat tires, one flat tire, two flat tires, broken windows, it is obviously tail lights busted out, wrecked, that would be considered inoperable. You've got to look at it as what is feasible to be driven on the streets. A car with a flat tire is not, it's inoperable, okay? I've seen cars that have had no tires on them. I've seen cars that have had one tire, and they've been sitting there forever. I do use one of the things, the code's the code, but one of the things that I have to deal with is I use a little common sense, a little common courtesy in the process of all this. If I talk to an individual and they say, Fred, could you give me a couple extra days to get this vehicle, operable? No problem. But if it's not done with a couple of extra days, I've got to take the correct action to make sure that that individual's adhering to the municipal codes. Jim, he helps out a lot. He supports all of our efforts. The same thing with Mary Ferdon. She supports our development, inside everything we do. Planning and zoning, engineering, the city garage, the fire department, the police department. All those are intricate parts that help me do my job. Now, the key thing in all this is also are the residents of Columbus. You know, they inform me a lot of what's going on out there. The key thing, the importance of the residents is that rely on the information they give you to help find these situations and get them resolved.
Thank you for your time and interview, sir.
No problem.